If that was
you Han Solo U-wing reinforcement into Count Dooku, you did it.
If that was so, he was on top of my deck. I wanted you tapped down my Han. I was gonna Dooku that Falcon, and I wanted to see the look on your face when you realized you can never make a 7-cost unit again. All the other things. Guys, I said it right to his face. You can never make another 7-drop again. Yet they did. What's up? It's your boy, BobbySapphire, and today I'm going to take you through 2 absolutely busted Han Solo decks. An update to Han Solo 7's Casino Han. I'm going to show you how to play and how the DJ Tech Han Solo deck works, and then I'm just going to give you a straight-up, regular old, solid-ass Han Solo deck to take to your locals or Gen Con. Check it out! Alright, I've been doing this with a bunch of my videos for the Patreon, and I'm going to bring it to the wide, so you're going to see another one of these when some of my videos about other decks come out. But we're going to use Tier Breaker to kind of, not necessarily rank things in tiers, but see if it fits in this deck. So right off the bat, as you could tell from my effusive introduction, we're going to take the 7s and put them right into auto-include. Fennec's an auto-include because she is in our colors. We can always just play her for 7. But Maul replaces Dooku, which allows us to have basically rely on You're My Only Hope a little bit more. Maul's also just insane. Fennec, also really good, can kill things without taking damage back or kills things that were otherwise problematically killed. We're going to look at the ramp next. So we've got Marauder, which I really like. Sometimes we struggle in the mid-game to not do anything on 5. Marauder's great because it has ambush. It kills things like the Punishing One and all sorts of ships that are otherwise going to give us problems. And then if we have a defeated unit that matches a card on the table, we can put it into our resource row and ramp. And Han lets us do that, right? If we use Han's ability to ramp and then discard a unit that we have in play. We do this with the droids like R2, 3PO, and can even do it with Ezra. Cloud Rider, another really good one for it. Speaking of Cloud Rider, I've used this to replace my Battlefield Marines because it doesn't have to sit on table. It can just do 3 to whatever we need it to. It dies. It works really well with Spark of Hope, which is another one of the ramp cards. So that takes a card from our discard pile if it died that turn. So oftentimes we can ramp or simply on 4 resources, run the Cloud Rider out, kill something, and then Spark of Hope to get that card permanently into our resource row. And that sort of makes up for the fact that we didn't use Han's ability. And then the other card, Price on Our Head, that's the other ramp card. And that's not in our game plan because we have to kill something early. I love how auto this card can be, but having to pay 2 resources and then kill something, that's similar to this combo, but we can still use Spark of Hope if they just kill our Ezra or our droid or something. We don't have to have Cloud Rider. Whereas we're not necessarily killing anything of theirs because our early units don't do much killing. I'm not using Sindari Peacekeepers right now, so it's in the sideboard potentially as just like awesome life gain that can also be pulled with U-Wing reinforcement. I'm mainly pulling 7s. I'm not sure about Millennium Falcon. I've wanted 6 drops and I want some more Space Ambush, but I think like the Marauder sort of took that place, even though sometimes we are lacking on 6. Sometimes we can't deploy Han because they're going to kill it or because they have something to tap it down, and we're not, and then we could lose him before we ever get to 7 resources. So I'm going to say this is potentially in our sideboard as another space unit and something to do on 6. L3 I thought about as just like a shieldy guy, but it doesn't kill anything, so that's not in our game plan. In fact, I need something to put in a drink on, so I'm gonna put L3 in coaster status for this deck. Tech, I actually have, as you can see from the list, either in the next slide or maybe you already saw it, that we're gonna auto include 1 tech, but I think it's a crazy game when we get to that many resources and start taking things out of our resource row for like 9. So I'm going to look at it as a possible sideboard or not in our game plan, but right now it's in. Cop Vanth is cool. He can, kill something, ideally trade, and then get one of the droids out. So I'm going to look at it maybe as a potential sideboard card. I like it. I haven't wanted to play it yet, but I like it to be able to pull droids. And then finally, Evacuate, I think, is a really interesting card to like catch us back up in the game. It's not an auto include for me, but it is potentially in the sideboard. I think I'm going to start running it as like my main sideboard card for anti-aggro, like just getting to that point where we can ramp into it and reset the board really early and then start taking over the game with our 7. So I could see that getting into the main deck, but right now the auto includes are the 7. Cloud Rider, the ramp cards in Marauder and Spark of Hope, as well as one of Tech. And then, yeah, that's it. Let's check out the rest of the deck. All right, we end up at this final product after going through all the cards. I'm going to talk you through how this deck works. The main game plan is we ramp. We hit 7 resources as safely as possible. We don't always flip Han and do it early, but we hit 7 resources as quickly as possible, and we start dropping 7s for the rest of the game, or some 8s. The original deck didn't have Home 1 or Reinforcement Walker, but those cards are just so important in clawing back, especially since like we're not doing a ton in the first couple turns of the game. We've got ramp, we've got late drops, and we've got like a little bit of early game. So I think I talked about Marauder in the previous video. So we've got R2, 3PO, and Ezra to sort of look at the top of our deck and get us towards our 7s. We've got Spark of Hope and Resupply to help us ramp. And of course, we've got Han Solo's activated ability to help us ramp. What R2 and 3PO do are let us see the top of our deck and potentially draw the top of our deck. That's amazing. With 3PO, unless we know what's on top from R2, and we're always just calling the card that we see. We just want cards to put down with Han and stuff and get to our 7s. You just name 7 with 3PO. It doesn't matter if you draw a Maul because you're never going to play it. We want the card advantage, and that Maul just digs us to the next Maul, or U-Wing Reinforcement, or Han, or whatever. Ezra, we can take a little more aggressively. We can play him on 1 and kill a 2-drop. We can try and use his ability to play something off the top. Yes, I have. You can check out the YouTube shorts, but I've flipped My Only Hope into a U-Wing Reinforcement off Ezra, which is pretty insane. So another thing you can do with these guys is you can start running them into your opponent's units, especially if they'll die, and maybe like on turn 2 you hit something and R2 takes 2 back, and then on the next turn you do it again, you kill that thing, and you kill your R2, and you can Spark of Hope it. We just want to get to 7, because once we hit 7 resources, we're just playing huge hammers the rest of the game. We don't have any more dead draws, or we have very few. So that's it. We just ramp, and we see the top of our deck. The only time you don't want to call 7 with a 3PO is if you have U-Wing Reinforcement in your hand and you want to play it. You could, or You're My Only Hope. You could name like a low-cost card, like a 3 or a 2, probably a 3. There's more 3s. So you get that off the top, and You're My Only Hope is a 7, or you see that it's a 7 on top. And maybe it's not. Maybe you wait to You're My Only Hope. But this is all just information and ramp. And then You're My Only Hope gets so much better in this version of the deck because we don't have anything that's like super dead. When we're on 5 resources with You're My Only Hope, we can play the 3 7-drops that don't have any aspect penalty. Han Solo, Fennec Shan, U-Wing Reinforcement. And then when we get to 7, which is our goal anyway, we can even play the things that do have an aspect penalty and would normally cost 9. So that's Maul, Luke Skywalker, Mace Windu. And if you wanted to go even more all in on the You're My Only Hope on 5 resources, which you totally could, you could replace Mace and probably add another 97th Legion. Just to have, I mean, it's a 5/5, so it's not great, but that's the only other option we have. You can also just like get 6 drops. Marauder is always fine off this card, especially if they have a space unit, because it helps us ramp. Your My Only Hope is really good. It's a fine YOLO. We don't have anything in the middle of the game to do, so what we want to do is just like push something out early. If it whiffs, it's not a huge deal. Our plan is to get to 7 anyway. If it pulls a resupply, like we'll take that. It's not. We're not trying to just win the game off this card. It's one more card to facilitate the brokenness. So that's Han Solo 7s if you haven't seen it before. Now let's take a look at the Tech DJ combo deck. Okay, this version of Han is all in on the Tech DJ combo, which I'll talk you through in a second. This has, it's like a little bit of a mix of a solid Han build, but just with that, like all the ways to find Tech and DJ. You got 3 Recruit, you have 2 Omega. I know some of the cards like Rogue Squadron Skirmisher and Syndicate Lackeys like seem underpowered, but when you're on 7 resources and your opponent is on 4 resources, all we're doing is like playing things that kill their guys and don't die back. The Falcon is another great ambush 6-drop. And I tried to keep it as heroic as possible for the home one. Omega is really underpowered, and like I wouldn't play Omega, but I did test this version, and like if you want to find Tech and DJ immediately, like that's what you got to do. The only thing I'm like a little unsure of is I like Cloud Rider in this deck and not Battlefield Marine, but again, I wanted to keep it ultra heroic for home one. So that's why Battlefield Marine is in this version, but if you wanted to play the Cloud Rider, that's totally fine. Traitorous is another concession to us being on like 6, 7 resources and then being on 4. We just steal their guy and have like that much more of a advantage. So it's just kind of like a kick in the pants. It's not the best U-Wing reinforcement deck, but Bright Hope just goes so far, like Bright Hope, Millennium Falcon. And it can also just help you find your tech. You don't have to do the tech DJ combo on the 3rd turn of the game. It's obviously very strong when you do, but against control, you might want to wait. It's also really important to like know when they can kill DJ right away, because you really need, for this combo to work, you need DJ to live through the entire turn, because you need to destroy that resource with Han. So having lots of actions and things to do, like playing these low drops, like tapping something down with Leia, getting them to spend their resources before we do the DJ combo, can be really important. So that's why we might look at it later in the game. Okay, so the Trinity of Degeneracy: Han, Tech, and DJ. What Tech does is he gives an additional smuggle cost to DJ. So now it only costs 5 without any aspect penalty to smuggle DJ in. And how Han works is Han ramps you to that 5th resource, you smuggle DJ out, you steal their resource, and then you destroy it with Han. And I'll talk you through that. So like we're untapping on the 3rd turn. We played Tech on 2. He's a 2/5. Unlikely to die. We have 4 resources. Our opponent has 4 resources. But we use Han's ability to add a 5th resource, ramping, and we smuggle out DJ. I didn't tap the resources. I'm just using it for an example. When we smuggle out DJ, we steal their resource. We go up to 6 resources, and they go down to 3. This exacerbates how difficult it can be for them to kill DJ on this turn. Then at the end of the turn, we destroy the resource we stole. See how the red one is gone? And we are now at 6 for the following turn, and they're at 4. Now we can, on 6, deploy our Han. We can ramp to at like so we not only that, sorry, we can use our Han to go to 7, deploy our Han, and attack with him to go to 8, and start playing things like Home 1 and Reinforcement Walker on the 4th turn of the game. Pretty freaking broken. All right, if you're looking for just a solid Han Solo build, this is what I'm currently playing. It still like really leans into the U-Wing reinforcement, Rebel kill out of nowhere, you know, game plan. But like really, we're just trying to survive the early game, live to Han Solo in Home 1, and take over via card advantage. I've really liked Marauder. I could see that going up to 2. But honestly, like this deck is so customizable because there's so many good yellow and green cards that you can really play it any way you want. This is just what I'm playing. It doesn't have a ton of interaction, so you could fit some waylays in or some strike trues. But for the most part, I'm just looking to gain life in the mid game and get to that late game where I can start dropping hammers. So I think this version of the deck is one that like people just play the things that they like, and a lot of people are really high on this version of the deck. So you could, I know several content creators who really champion this deck. I would prefer to play it in its most broken forms in the DJ version and the Casino Han version. But I just want to give you something solid to leave you with in case combo isn't your thing. So good luck at the tables, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.